Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Coach Erin. I'm a physiologist, breathing coach, and registered yoga teacher. Today I want to talk to you about air hunger and how I overcome air hunger, panic attacks, in my postpartum period, and how I can share my story to maybe help you understand the physiology a little bit better, why you might be feeling air hunger, and what you can do to overcome this very frustrating condition you are in. So this is not medical advice. If you are experiencing air hunger and panic attacks, definitely connect with a doctor. But this is meant to share my story and how I overcame this situation. So let's learn a little bit about air hunger. Air hunger is that sensation where you are feeling the need to take deep breaths, where you might not feel like you're getting a satisfying breath, so you feel like you need to breathe more and more and more. You might be yawning a lot. You might be experiencing panic attacks. Periodically, you might find that you're mouth breathing. You maybe have some other stress breathing patterns that go along with this. And it can be really frustrating. You can get really fixated on your breath and trying to get that big, deep breath. And what's hard about this is the cycle. This is the physiological cycle that is very much connected to your emotional health. So usually you've had some kind of trauma, some kind of stressful situation that's moved you into this over breathing pattern. But once you get into it and your body tells you, hey, I need more air, you think you need more oxygen, well then you are cued to breathe more. So what we try to do is create an intervention to slow down your breathing rate, to overcome some of the stress breathing patterns that are connected to overbreathing, air hunger, and panic attacks, and actually educate you first about proper breathing mechanics and how you can take like an inside out approach to managing your stress. Now I'm all for, especially if you're dealing with trauma, I am all for working with a mental health counselor and a psychologist to help with this emotional side of panic attacks and anxiety and stress. Like, I'm all for that. I've used one myself and I used it together. But you have to understand that your physiology is playing into this as well, and that we can do things to support our physical body and help us heal and help us get to a more natural, relaxed breathing pattern throughout the day and overcome that need to breathe more. At the end of the day, over breathing is the reason why you're feeling that air hunger, in my professional opinion and my personal opinion. It's because you've been over breathing for a period of time. For me, I had a very stressful labor. I'm going to sit down for this. I had a very stressful labor and delivery with my first child and definitely with my second child. That is what set me off. That was my trauma. And from there, I was really over breathing a lot. Now, women are more susceptible to air hunger and over breathing, especially women who have had children, because when you carry a child, your rib cage moves up and flares out, and your diaphragm moves up. This puts you at a shallow breathing pattern. This puts you at risk for these breathing pattern disorders. Also, women tend to grip and hold their belly really tight a lot of times, which means that they're not using their diaphragm for a proper breathing throughout the day, for a proper breath. Men I've seen that I work with, they tend to breathe more out of their mouth. They tend to breathe vertically, where they're sucking in on the inhale, and really big here in the chest, using the neck and shoulders. So there's different breathing styles that we see that are going to create more stress in the body. That's going to activate your fight or flight sympathetic nervous system state. Then there's breathing patterns that are going to bring you to homeostasis, more balance, and there's breathing patterns that are going to bring you to a more down-regulated nervous system state, tapping into your parasympathetic nervous system, rest, digest, restore, and recover. Naturally, you want to be able to flow in and out of these nice and easily throughout the day. Like, you want flexibility with your nervous system, and you want to be able to modulate it well. But sometimes we get in these states where we just get stuck in a sympathetic response system state, chronic stress, and it's hard to get out of that cycle. Again, you can go at this from a full perspective working with a wellness coach like myself, working with a breathing coach like myself, working with a psychologist, a therapist. Like, you can tackle this holistically like I did and have a lot of success. It might not be a quick fix, but it definitely fixes it deeper. It goes deeper because we're getting to the root and we're addressing it there. And we're working on your habits and your lifestyle and your behavior. So I think it has a longer effect, being as I haven't had a panic attack since 2020. I can speak to this as somebody who has overcome this very frustrating position. So now that you have a little bit more information about what air hunger is, what overbreathing is, I want to talk a little bit about panic attacks. What we know is that panic attacks are happening when you've been overbreathing for too long. So it's not just that one instance. It's like you've been overbreathing for a long time. Maybe you were in a trauma. A lot of the research has been done from people coming back from war who have PTSD and end up having panic attacks. They're hypervigilant. They have PTSD because let's say they were in battle for 3 days and they're breathing like this. Well, their O2, CO2, gets offset, and their O2 is triggering them. Actually, it's the CO2, their sensitivity to CO2, that triggers them to breathe more. Their body thinks they need more oxygen, but they actually don't. That's going to create, on the far end of it, the extreme, it's going to eventually create that panic attack where you feel like you need to breathe, but you don't. That's why in the old-timey, you've seen where they put the brown paper bag over somebody's nose and mouth and they tell them to breathe slow. They want you to be circulating your CO2, your carbon dioxide, so that you will activate that parasympathetic nervous system state. You will relax a little bit. So it's not about breathing deep. You've been told wrong. That's not how I want you to breathe. I want you to breathe less. I want you to breathe longer, lengthening out your exhale to overcome these stressed breathing patterns. That's where we can start. Nasal breathing. Breathing in a 360-degree pattern. Not sucking in on the inhale. We want to stretch our body out on the inhale. Not gripping in the stomach, not holding our breath, anticipating something bad is going to happen. So drop in, build your awareness around your breathing patterns, your stressed breathing patterns, and let's clean up the mechanics of your breath, your daily breathing habits throughout the day. That's going to move you in the right direction. Now, how do you practice breath work in a way that's going to support you if you have air hunger, overbreathing, or panic attacks? I want you to work on 2 breathing styles that I teach on my channel, and you can go look at those videos. I'll link them somewhere in here. But I want you to practice 4-8 breathing, 4-second inhale followed by 8-second exhale, and I want you to practice box breathing. Those are 2 wonderful tools that you can use to overcome this breathing pattern disorder. Now, if you need more help with these types of tips and techniques and tools, you maybe want to go through a few breathing assessments with me. I have virtual coaching and I would love to connect with you. I try to keep my rates reasonable so that I can get this message out to as many people as I can. I've worked with hundreds of people to improve their communication, to improve their mindfulness, wellness, and breathing. So if this is something that you feel you need a little bit more individualized coaching on, let's get connected. Otherwise, breathe well, live well, and speak well. Y'all have a great day.